who played the Penguin.
We love Robin
We
Lord
love a bit
Taylor.
of Robin, don't we? Yeah.
Yeah. How is he doing, and how was your trip?
Oh, it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, we were very much a family when we were there in Manhattan, as you know, for 5 years. So first time I've been back since COVID. And it's a bouncing, beautiful city. It was lovely to be back, It's gorgeous, yeah.
Well, we don't like to play favorites here at Comic-Con and Monopoly events, but I got to tell you, Sean and Robin are two of my favorites, and I've been lucky enough to meet not only both of you, but also Cameron and a lot of the cast, David as well. But obviously, we have so many Gotham fans here in the crowd, and there's been so many iterations of Batman. What do you think it is about Gotham that really makes it special and unique?
I think the thing about Gotham was that it was an original take because it was actually about the city more so than the people. And it was about a city that actually molds people to become the characters that we all know, the iterations that we all know. So at first, people sort of struggled with it, I think, originally. But it was what I loved was actually seeing how this city molded people, like with Robin Lord Taylor, how he got his limp from Jada Pinkett Smith, or their bizarre, Alfred and Master Bruce's sort of bizarre relationship, how they found themselves through sort of ultra-violence in a kind of weird way. And how the city sort of molded people. So it was interesting seeing people that we knew who they were later to become, actually how they developed from the original sort of the germination, the seed element of it. So, and we were given the opportunity to sort of research these characters over 100 episodes. So normally when you do a film, you may get 2 scenes to play Alfred, like Andy Serkis, the brilliant Andy Serkis did, who's just running with it now. But we got sort of 100 hours to play with. So, yeah.
It's very cool to see the backstory of all these characters that we've come to know and love. But obviously, Alfred has had many a different actor. But watching back and seeing how different actors played Alfred, what was it like for you to sort of put your own spin on it in the most respectful way, I'm sure?
Well, initially, I mean, it was absolutely terrifying. I mean, absolutely. Very quick backstory was that I was shooting Elementary in New York with my friend Johnny Lee Miller. And I got this script, and it was this one side, and it was basically it was a really brilliantly written. It sounded like it was someone from the East End, and it was for the audition, and it was it was a speech about this man who goes into a pub, and he punches this guy in the larynx, in the East End of London, and I thought this is kind of extraordinary, and I went down to do the second recall and the screen test and everything like that, and I saw Danny Cannon, who directed Goal, and Bruno Heller sort of loping past, and I said, so what is this piece I'm reading? They said, it's Alfred Pennyworth from Batman. So that was the first time that I actually knew what we were auditioning for. So it was a very different take. It was a time when you've never seen Alfred before, and you see their relationship develop, because he never actually asked to be a parent to Master Bruce. But it's that sort of tenuous relationship between a sort of a father figure with a young damaged boy growing up. So yeah.
And that was a beautiful chemistry that you guys had. Was that an instant chemistry that you had with David, because he was so young, and to see him sort of growing up as the character was really interesting for all of us as fans?
Yeah, and he's a very experienced actor. I actually it's quite weird being an older gentleman actually asking a 12-year-old, saying, was that all right? Was that take okay? Because he's so sort of experienced. He was wonderful. He's also the same age as my son, who's called Alfred. Bit weird, but
wow.
yeah. And so it was a very easy sort of pool to draw from, because it was like being with my boy, if that makes any sense. And he's a consummate professional, deeply intelligent, young David. And he was, rushing off, studying in between each scene, these sort of quite emotional big scenes that we were doing. So he was doing that as well as being irritatingly brilliant.
Irritatingly brilliant. Yeah, no, David, he was very well-spoken, very intelligent young man. But for the audition process in the London pubs, as a method actor, did you have to go around to the pubs and sort of get your motivation?
It was tough, but someone had to do it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't have that problem here in Newcastle, of course, you.
Yes. Oh, we've been experiencing the nightlife and the day life, if you will. Well, you mentioned it being sort of hush-hush. So how hush-hush was it in the beginning to, I mean, even yourself, it took a while for them to kind of tell you who you were playing. But the other actors, did they know? Did they have an inkling? I know Robin has said that he didn't really understand at first who he was playing.
No, you're right. Sorry, interrupting. No, you're right. Nobody knew. And I think that was the thing, was had we known we were auditioning for these sort of iconic roles, that everyone has an idea who Alfred is, who Penguin is, who the Riddler, Edward Nygma is, And had we known, we would have done our version of a spin of that character, but we didn't know what we were auditioning for. So it was a very clever process in a way by Danny Cannon and Bruno, because they cherry-picked stuff that they saw in us that we didn't know that we naturally had. So we were basically being ourselves, and they handpicked us because they saw what they wanted from us. And that's why I think the cast meshed, and I think that every single character in it, and there was a big cast. Normally with these shows, with these American shows, they call it throwing a bowl of spaghetti at a wall, and they see which sort of strands stick. And unfortunately for them, every spaghetti strand stuck. So they had this huge pool of 12 actors to draw from. So that's why I was a little confused some of the first season, because it was going down quite well. Originally we were booked to do just 12 in a season, then it went to 16, and then it went to 22 in the first season. So, the poor writers were absolutely freaking out. They didn't know what to do with this. But the second season, I felt really sort of settled down with the introduction of the prototype Joker, Jeremiah, Cameron Monaghan, brilliant. And with the maniacs and all that kind of stuff. And I think we really sort of found our footing.
Well, how dare you all be so talented? What they saw was that they had a great cast. They had to keep going because it was so good, so layered with all the characters. But you mentioned your friend Johnny Lee Miller. Yeah. It's always nice to have a famous friend. And I have to tell you, I've been lightly stalking your Instagram and saw a photo of you with Damien.
Yeah,
just
man.
on Instagram, yes.
He's an old friend from London. Name drop. Jesus, she gets it out of you.
Hey, I love Instagram,
It was a friend of mine, Jake Chapman, who's an artist. I was in Manhattan he was doing a launch there.
Damien Lewis, sorry everybody, Damien
Lewis. And I was talking to Alison Mosshart, and there's a fantastic band called The Kills. And I was talking to this lady, and she said, I'm dating an English actor. And then this guy loped round the corner, and it was Damien Lewis. So there you go. Small world, yeah.
Well, your thoughts on Instagram and social media. So I love that you're actually sharing some memories with us, because some actors really, and wrestlers, anyone in entertainment, sometimes they feel it's a tedious job to be on social media. But is this something that you enjoy and that you think can be helpful in your career, social media?
Absolutely essential. I think like Robin and I and David, I cook. I like cooking. It's my sort of downtime thing. And what we used to do was we were super excited when the show first came out. And of course we were still shooting the first season when it came out. So we started doing this thing where I invite everyone around for dinner and we do sort of like live tweets. And it kind of blew up. And I was actually called in front of the Beak, which is the head of Fox and Warner Brothers social media department. And I thought I was really thought I was in trouble, because you're not supposed to say anything about what you're shooting. It's all supposed to be very secret and everything. And they said, look, we don't quite understand what you're doing, but can you just do more of it, please? But it really did help. It really helped, I think, with the show, especially with the DC universe. There's so much passion and intelligence, and there's such a huge fan base that interacting with them and people asking questions meant an awful lot to us, So yeah, it is important.
It's fun. I think it sort of humanizes celebrities for us, and to know that the cast gets along so well that you're enjoying each other's company off screen is very cool. But now imagine if you invited just a few of us here, maybe all of us, depending on how nice everyone is. What are you cooking for us? If we're coming over to a dinner party and Sean Pertwee's in the kitchen, what sort of wine are you serving? What's your speciality?
Well, I just got this thing called an ox grill, right? Which is, I'm not quite sure how to use it. It's like a sort of an Argentinian barbecue. I'm really into, do you know what I'm talking about? Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I get it.
So it's about the sauces and produce for me. So I don't mess with things too much, but it will cook over real fire, is what I'm saying. That's it.
So no takeaways. It's not like a fish and chips night.
No, no, not tonight, no.
You're fancy. Great stuff. Well, you guys, we have some questions from you out there. If you want to raise your hand. Oh, we've got one in the front row.
There you go.
Give it up for Aaron, everybody. Aaron will be running the mic for us.
Just need to make sure it works.
Yes, he's your new best friend. He's got the microphone. Feel free to introduce yourself as well. Hi there.
We just met, actually.
Is this on? As you know, in 2005, you're part of the movie Go.
Sorry, say that again?
In 2005, you're part of the movie Go when
That's
you were
right,
an
yeah.
agent.
Yeah.
Was that your first time in Newcastle in St James's Park?
It was the first time in St James's Park. It was a bit of a nightmare because I had a terrible hangover. And the thing was, what they did was in Goal, this film, they had the actors on the sideline and they'd run on and run off during an actual game. And I was played this sort of shyster like agent for one of the players. and I had to cheer when Newcastle scored, which was a bit of a nightmare, being a Chelsea supporter. But you know, so yeah, no, I love Newcastle. I love being at St James's. It's absolutely phenomenal. Great, really great fans. And of course, I've worked with many of your sort of your sons, really. Paul Anderson, I started up here. We did films like Shopping. We did a prequel to Shopping, which was our first stab at trying to make British movies hit American multiplexes, or whether people have seen Shopping and stuff like that. But we went on to do like Event Horizon from that. And of course, then the great Neil Marshall, who are from Dog Soldiers, he came from here. In fact, he was an usher at one of the cinemas here. And his dream when he was a little boy was if he wanted to be a director, was to do the premiere at the cinema where he was an usher, and we did. So we actually came to Newcastle to do the premiere.
Hey-o.
That cleared the sinuses, didn't it? First thing in the morning. So we did the premiere here. So I've been to Newcastle many times. Yeah, I love it.
That's an amazing full circle moment. So he was an usher,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then he did his premiere at that.
At the cinema.
That
yeah.
is so cool. Very cool. If you guys have a question, just raise your hand, please. We'll have to pass it down. Yeah, Aaron's going to get those steps in. This bleacher setup's a little different for us, so just bear with us, everybody. Hi there.
Hello. I was just wondering, on the set of Dog Soldiers, have you got any really funny stories or behind-the-scene things you'd want to say about?
Well, I mean, the whole thing was extraordinary. It was it really is still one of my best experiences, that and Gotham, actually. I got my nose broken by Kevin McKidd because we were experimenting with alcohol. I don't know, you've probably heard this story before, that I was experimenting with alcohol. They did know, the producers, by the way, I have to say, because it was going really rather well. And I said, I don't like drunk acting. Sometimes people doing drunk acting is not very good. So why don't I get really, really drunk? So everyone, that's a fantastic idea, really bad idea, because I was being so annoying when I sort of say, knock me out your pussy, not like that. He actually did. And he caught me on the end of the nose, and claret sort of shot across and hit the standby props department. And I remember just going, this is pretty fucking. I didn't realise, I thought it was just fake blood. It was actually all me. So, yeah. And then Kevin, actually, they did a book. Janine did this book called Sausages. And he never actually admitted that I was actually seriously pissing him off. And there might have been some sort of intent behind the blow, if you know what I mean.
There might have been, allegedly.
Allegedly.
That's the most political answer ever. Maybe, allegedly.
He had a point.
Yeah. Got a question from this lovely lady here in the front.
Hi there.
Hi, Sean.
Hi.
Big fan, by the way. Hi, nervous.
No.
I was just wondering, well, I'm a big fan of your movies, especially Dog Soldiers, definitely my favourite. Wilderness as well, fab.
Ah.
I was just wondering, in Dog Soldiers, the story of Eddie Oswald, was
Yeah.
there any truth to that or any specific inspiration to that, or was it just kind of an impromptu story?
Well, it's interesting. I actually put good money on the fact that there was no way that a sort of a 6-page horror story around a campfire was actually going to make it into the final cut. Neil, the director, was in the TA prior to us shooting the thing, and he nearly went to Iraq. And the one thing that apparently, I'm not in the services, thank you very much for your service, anyone who is, the language and the verbiage of how we spoke and what we talked about was sort of we hit the nail on the head kind of thing. So I think it was an amalgamation of stories that he'd heard from people that were serving. Yeah, so I'm not quite sure, but Oswald is a character, Eddie Oswald with a bong eye. He features in every movie that Neil's ever done. In fact, the last movie I just did with him, I'm called Oswald, so there you go, full circle.
And then there's Oswald Cobblepot as well.
Yeah, there's also
Oswald's
there's a lot of Oswalds
everywhere.
around.
A lot of Oswalds. We can take some more questions down here or up there, wherever you'd like to go, Aaron. Thank you, guys. See, first panel of the day, usually they're nervous, but not with Mr. Pertwee here because
you
he's such a
go.
great storyteller. Hi, sir. How are you?
Hi, Sean.
Where are you? Oh, there you are.
I'm here.
Hello there.
Obviously, I think your career peaked when you did Death in Paradise.
Oh, thank you very much. Shut up.
At which point in your career did you think, right, I've made it? You became sat.
No, but I've got a lovely tan. And then anyone who does Death in Paradise is like, they're just bona fide liars. You go there to get a tan and drink rum, mate. Seriously. No, it was a funny thing to do. I mean, I die. I have this propensity, as you all know, to die a lot. I die well. And so I got shot, I think, very early on. And I remember getting quite quite cross because they wanted me to be a corpse actually lying there, and I just wanted to be with a bunch of people on the beach, really. But you do that. You do everyone. That's why you see the most extraordinary people, taking nothing away from the show. You see a lot of extraordinary people doing it because it's in the winter months and you're on a beach, really. And the funny thing is about that, actually, the loads of the guys that play the leads, I can't remember the character's name, the lead doctor, the detective. They cut the back panels of the suit. It's so hot. They cut the back panels of the suits out. So it's this really bizarre thing. You sort of go around, there's underpants, and it's like a sort of Monty Python sketch. It's weird.
For ventilation, right?
Ventilation.
Not a bad way to make a living. Any more questions? Just raise your hand. Oh, we got a bunch. And we've got some amazing cosplay up here as well. We'll make sure we get to you, sir. Hi there.
Hi.
Hi.
My name's April.
Hi, April.
This is Beth. She's a big fan. She's
Hi,
just
hi.
too shy to talk. My question is, if you could have a dinner party with 3 celebrities, dead or alive, who would they be and why?
Oh, my gosh. Wow. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, we know what you're cooking now. We want to know who you're sharing it with.
It's got to be Muhammad Ali, because he was one of the things I used to do with my father. He used to wake me up back in the day before cable and all that, and I used to watch all the Muhammad Ali fights. And as a man, I really admire what he stood for and his politics. He's one. Dr. Alimantado, I really like my reggae. And Robin Lord Taylor.
He would be the best dinner guest. Oh my gosh, she's so entertaining.
Good, really, really good question. At 4 o'clock this morning, I'm going to go, I should have said that, But good question.
Very good question. Thank you. Let's go up to Joker here. Can we give a round of applause to this cosplay?
Yay.
Amazing. Have you seen a lot of Alfred cosplay, by the way, Sean? I'm sure you have.
I have
What's that
in
like?
the past. Yeah, that's fantastic. I love the fact that these conventions are such free spaces and people, the imagination and the effort and everything that goes into it. It's brilliant.
Hello. So obviously, as everybody knows, you're not well known for Alfred. Many before you and more after yourself. If you had to choose one, which would you say is your best, the best iteration to date?
Of Alfred?
Yes.
There's so many of them. It's a generational thing, isn't it? Obviously, Sir Michael Caine, because he represented the common man, which changed the sort of genre. Michael Gough, because of his closeness. They were so easy, Michael Keaton and him, around each other, which is something that influenced me very strongly with my attempt at Alfred with David. I really like the ease in which they were around each other. So it'd be those two mainly, yeah. And I'm looking forward to see what Andy does, because he's phenomenal, Good question, thank you.
Yes, Andy Serkis is phenomenal. Big fan of it in Andor. Did you watch Andor?
Yes, I have.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's so great. We've got a couple more questions. Oh, we've got one right over here. Another cosplay. You look awesome.
Thank you.
Hey, Indy.
Hi, hi, Sean. You mentioned your father. I'm a big fan of your father because he was, at my age, my Doctor Who. And I've always wondered, were you ever approached? What was or what would be your answer if you were approached? Because I saw you recently, a photo come up on Facebook of you dressed as your father as Doctor Who.
Yeah, that was a Halloween tequila moment that went bad, really. I didn't really realise what I was doing. I borrowed a wig and a cape, and then my agent rang me up and said, "What are you doing?" And I went, because it sort of blew up. No, I'd never played a Doctor Who. I just couldn't. It would be just too weird. My dad would pee himself laughing, for starters. But I've always said this, in some capacity, I'd love to be in it. It may be one day. I think I'm probably one of the only English actors alive today that hasn't been, but we shall see. We'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to seeing the new version, obviously. But yeah, I'd love to do something. Maybe the love child of the master, Roger Delgado. Something like that. I don't know. Something.
We've got a Doctor Who panel tomorrow. It's the last one of the day. So we'll just bring you on.
Oh, gosh.
Get you ingratiated with all of the Doctor Who folks that are here. We've got time for a few more questions, everybody. Don't be shy. There we go.
John's there. Sorry.
We'll get you guys. Don't worry.
Hey, man.
Oh, yeah.
Good to see you again. It's been, 5 minutes.
Both Dog Soldiers and Doomsday were set in Scotland.
Were you surprised at the locations chosen to actually make the films?
That sort of happens quite a lot. I mean, South Africa was a bold choice for Scotland. It didn't really look like Scotland, did it? I mean, the big car chase, the big denouement. Yeah, I mean that's our job. I mean, Luxembourg doubled up for Scotland in Dog Soldiers, but they did do some yomping up in Aberdeen, I think. Where they did some of the sort of the yomping stuff of us in the distance. We thought we'd get to go up there, but we didn't. But no, that happens an awful lot, really. You can be. It doesn't matter where you are now, really, so much. So it's great for us because we get to travel.
We had a question right here.
Oh,
Thank
sorry,
you.
yeah.
Hello,
Hi.
my name is Minnie, and I was wondering, do you have any potential advice for potential actresses and actors?
I beg sorry, say that. I'm sorry.
I'm
Advice.
advice for potential actors and actresses.
Any advice for potential actors or actresses? Potential advice. We have a lot of aspiring
potential
actors
advice.
and actresses.
Advice. Prepare yourself just for rejection. I just got rejected twice last week, and it really fucking hurts. Sometimes it's always the jobs that you really, really want that you don't get. It's something in your eye or something that you're unaware of. It's really bizarre. And the ones where you really can't be bothered, people think that you're being really interesting, and they see that you're particularly nonplussed about this particular project. And they go, he's really fascinating. So you often get offered those jobs. The ones that you really care about often don't work out. The thing is just to be resilient, to get as much experience as you possibly can. Do everything. I mean, I'm really old school. I come from a generation where to be on television, you had to get an equity card. So you had to work in a provincial theatre for 6 months, and then 9 months after being in theatre, you're allowed to do television and film. So my advice is to do everything that you possibly can to understand from the ground up, from being a tea runner to I started sort of bashing cables, to cleaning nagas, sound recording equipment, really just to understand what it's like to be on a set. And surround yourself with people like that, Surround yourself, find little theatre groups, find people like-minded, and make as many mistakes and as many mess-ups as you possibly can. And then then you suddenly realize you have your voice, you're not worried about who you are, what you are. It's just, it's really how people see you. So, do you see what I mean? Yeah, so that's basically it. And it's about resilience, because a lot of people, I think now is what's happening is people have fallen in love with the trappings of our industry. And really, it's you can't really help it. The thing is being called bitten by the bug. If you love it, and you just do it. And if you're successful, then great, But it's the rejection element is you're not allowed to do your job. That's the kicker. That never gets easy, So stick at it.
Yay. Great advice. Round of applause for that. We have